Hi, welcome to my workshop. My name's Darren and this is 3D Prints in the Workshop volume number 6. Yep, we're up to 6. Now I've got a separate microphone just in front of me trying to record the audio to try and boost the volume level up a bit. I've been having some issues with that. So I can do some interesting effects with this and also make some interesting mistakes with it. We're going to look at a few different things today. One of them is an alternative to the micro jig gripper push block. This fella here, which was designed by Torbenau. I got this off Thingiverse. I'll put a link down below, of course. I had to make a couple of little modifications because the nuts that this person used when they designed it, I just couldn't get. So I've made my own knobs and my own little keepers that slide in here so I could use larger size bolts. I've had to use M5 bolts to get what I needed. It's turned out to be a good little push block actually. We've got a little piece that falls down at the back for hooking onto the piece of timber you're pushing. That does come out if you remove this screw, of course. You can take that out. Works really well. I wasn't going to make this because I do have my two grippers by Microjig and they're great. And I've received great service from Microjig over the years. I really didn't want to do the wrong thing by them by making one of these. But then I thought it's always handy to have an extra. And that's the way I'm going to suggest that anybody else goes for it. This is a sturdier object. I've had this for over 10 years, well over 10 years. And it's still going strong. I would recommend to anybody to have at least one micro jig. But if you want a second one, why not print one up? It's a lot cheaper. Anyway, we'll run that through its paces later on in the video. I've also made up some little test pieces to answer some questions I've been asked. We'll get into that shortly. And flowing on from that, I've made up some little spaces for, spacing things. So some people have questioned the accuracy of my 3D printer. That noise in the background is my dog chewing. So I'm going to make a little test print it out and do some measurements and see how accurate the thing really is. One of the questions was, is it square? So let's find out if it's square. And then the other one, someone was asking if it was my 3D printer that was out as to why some of my little pegs didn't fit in the MFT3 table. Now I've had other pegs that did fit just fine, quite a few other different ones that have fitted just fine, so I assume that those prints off that printer are fine. And in fact it's an inaccuracy on that one design that didn't fit. But let's just find out how accurate it is. So we'll start off, it's a 20mm hole. So this should be an extremely tight fit. We don't really want to use this, but that's going to be our standard. The Veritas dogs for the MFT3 are 19.9mm. So let's try that. We'll do a 19.9. And because 3D printers like to work in multiples of 0.4, let's do a 19.8, which will probably be very accurate theoretically. And perhaps the 19.9 will be slightly off, limited by the print width. So we'll extrude those. Should be enough, and then we will label them. Alright, let's give this a try. Zeroed. 19.79. Oh, look at that. 19.89. Again, that's pretty darn close. $20 exactly. Oh, 19.99. I had 20, but there you go. So no, my printer's pretty accurate there. Pretty good. What you can see here is one of the original dogs that I printed out and didn't have to adjust. That fits quite nicely, although slightly loose. But let's try these other ones I've just made. So we expect the 2.0 to be a very tight fit, not really usable. So I'm not going to push that in very hard. Yeah, it fits actually, fits quite nicely. But if I let go of it, it's going to stay there forever. All right, now the 19.8 should be loose. Indeed it is. I should be able to push that right through, and I did. And then the 19.9 theoretically should just sit in there. And there we go. So I think that proves the accuracy of the printer in that regard. But moving on from there, let's test how square it is, because that was one of the other questions I was asked. There you go. As you can see anyway, that's square. So there's no problems there. The line you're seeing is me having a problem lining it up with the top. Maybe I should lie it down on the table and just do that. There we go. The accuracy of these test pieces I made, we saw earlier, combined with my need when I was making the knife block to space the router away from the fence, made me think to make up some of these little fellas. You can see they've got the sizes written on them: 10mm, 20mm and 30mm, just for general spacing. And because my printer is within 0.01 of a millimetre, so it would seem, certainly with all the measurements we've done so far, that seems to be the ongoing accuracy, within 0.01 of a mil. I can't cut more accurate than that myself, so I thought these would make fantastic little spaces. So I'll show you what I plan to do with them, or at least one of their many uses. So one of the main uses for these spaces would be, of course, for setting the fence away from the router bit. I've got a 12.7mm straight bit in the router at the moment. I assume everybody's got one of those because they seem to come with routers. They certainly do around here anyway. And you take your spacer. I'm going to use the 30mm one for now. Chuck it in. Make sure the blade is facing the fence. Yes, I'm touching the router bit, but it's turned off at the router. It's turned off at the power point at the front of the router table, and the whole router table is unplugged from the wall. There is no power getting to this. So yeah, touch it all I want. So there we go. We will move that up to the bit there. That's it, lock that in place, and then remove the spacer, and we're good to go and route something. And of course, having three different sizes, we can go 10, 20, 30, 50 and 60mm all the way. So they shall come in most handy. And of course I can space anything else I want with a saw blade, 2 pieces of wood, whatever you want. So I'll make those available for download on Thingiverse. Simple but effective. I've printed out a version of the gripper push block system, or very similar to the gripper push block system anyway. But obviously, being a 3D print, it doesn't have nice soft grippy edges on it yet. So I bought some of these things off Amazon. They're a little bit small for the length, but so I'm just lining this up to see if I can use this as a template. This is one of the outer edges of the block. Seeing if I can use it as a template to cut this to the right size. Drifted off a little bit part way through. Alrighty, let's try that. Yeah, that works a bit better. stick it on, then trim it off. Gives you a much neater edge. Should have done that in the first place with the others. Never mind. C'est la vie. I had to make my own little keepers and knobs because the ones that came with this particular design were meant for M3 nuts, and I couldn't find hex-headed M3 nuts. Not even online. So I've used my own design with M4 nuts, which I could get in a hex head. There. Better. Let's see how well that grips something. Let's try a piece of wood. This piece is warped and twisted, and therefore a very bad example, but anyway, let's give it a try. Oh no, she's working. That's good. Let's try with a little end catch. Oh, nice with a little end catch on. Yeah, okay. I think this is going to come in quite handy. So I've decided to square up and size the edges here over at the table saw. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to test out this new little push block I made. And the thing about trying something like this out with Jarrah is that it's a tough wood to cut. It's a very hard wood. Like I've said before, it's not the hardest wood in the world, but it's up there. It certainly makes one of the top lists. So, okay, so this is really going to test the grip of this stuff as well. Alright, but before I go, there's one more thing, and that's this little template holder I made. So when you want to do some sort of template work on a piece of wood, the idea is this frame can either be screwed, preferably screwed, but could be clamped down to the surface of the wood. And then your appropriate template, in this case, this is a 100 by 500 ellipse, sorry, 100 by 50 millimeter ellipse, you can probably see there. There we go. And that just fits into the frame, like so. And then you can run your router around inside of that. You can do inlay work, or any shape I make to fit in there, of course, would work. Handles, you name it. That got me to thinking, I've got one of these lettering sets, and you know, you pull your letter out and you're supposed to stick it, yeah, to see, you're supposed to stick it in this frame here, which then clamps onto your wood here, and you route away, but it never sits flat. It always seems to sit on an angle. I'm exaggerating the angle, but an angle like that. And there's such a small area for the router, of course, it's hard not to tip, and it's hard to keep the bearing engaged with what is just over 2 mil of plastic. I think it's 2.2 millimeters of plastic. So I built a frame that those fit into. So stick your letter in one of these, and then that in there like that. There we go. Gives us a much larger surface area for the router to sit on top of, and sits flat on the wood because the whole thing's level. Everything fits in neatly. There's no ridges. So I will make these available on Thingiverse as well. And as I make more templates, as I need them, I will make those available as well. That's it for today. Thank you for watching. Have a great day, and I'll catch you later. Bye-bye.